The best outcomes of the AODA are a cultural shift, that accessibility becomes the default, that it becomes as ubiquitous as seatbelts and as not smoking in public buildings. Within the Inclusive Design Research Center, we have somewhat reframed our notion of disability. We see disability as simply a mismatch between the environment, the product, or the service that's being offered and the needs of the individual. Social inclusion is a major requirement for a healthy society. We're all healthier, wealthier, wiser if we can all participate. And the web is so ubiquitous now. There's almost nothing that we can do within our society that doesn't involve the web, whether it's participating in education, finding a job, purchasing, commerce, participation in government. I can't get a passport without touching the web.
So with 50,000 students in our colleges and universities having self-declared as having a disability, it's important that we embrace our entire skill sets in our workforce in order to maintain that competitive advantage. We conducted a survey several years ago of businesses, and 30% of our businesses told us that in a 12-month period they were having difficulty in finding the right talent they need. So it's extremely important that when you're trying to build that 21st century workforce, that is one of the pillars of our Emerging Stronger agenda, that we do embrace all the talent that's available to us in our society.
I see accessibility measures as something that should be integrated in every facet of our work and personal life. I'll give you a good example. When we were consulting on developing the AODA, I was asked, well, who is going to pay for all this? And I said, well, do you ask who's going to pay for female washrooms? Because once upon a time, a lot of industries didn't have washrooms for females because there weren't enough females to make it worth the expense. Could you imagine asking that question today? I don't think so. Therefore, why are you asking it for people with disabilities? To me, that's discrimination.
It's never a question whether something should be accessible or not be accessible. It's just the obvious decision to make.
If you just go with that frame in mind, with that window in your mind, a window to accessibility, if you just make it part of your everyday checklist on what you're developing, you're bound to do a much better job than if you just have it as an add-on.
After the leaders understand what the requirements are and how it fits into their business plans, then it's really important that the proper individuals that are in a leadership position, whether it's a managerial position or a design position, when it comes to creating web design, it's important that they understand what the requirements are and that they have the knowledge and the capacity to effect that change.
The most important people within a business or an organization to educate or train in web accessibility are, first of all, anyone that makes any decisions within the organization. Secondly, the individuals that are doing the purchasing and deciding what tools are going to be used, who is going to be hired, who is going to be contracted. They have a huge impact on the types of environments that are available to people, the types of training that is there. And then next, of course, it's the individuals that are involved in creating the web presence. But in today's organizations, that means everyone within the organization. And so a critical piece is to make sure that they are armed with both the information but also the right instruments and tools to ensure that they create accessible websites.